This video is sponsored by DRB. DRB helps car wash operators squeeze every ounce of profitability out of their investments using data insights, reliable, intuitive technology, and a best-in-class team. Visit drb.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to Unscripted, the video series that connects you with market leaders. Today on our Unscripted video, we welcome Sergio de Oliveira, DRB's User Experience Design Manager. Hello, Sergio, and thank you for joining us here today.
Hey, Rich. Glad to be here.
Great. So today's topic is on the importance of user experience. And Sergio, why don't we first start off with this question? Why is user experience so important in software, in your opinion?
So the way I look at it, a good user experience is just an expectation in today's world. If you look at where we are with companies like Apple, Amazon and Netflix, that's their focus on delivering great experiences. So I think, having those companies leading the way has kind of made its way into the rest of the world. So I think just in general, customers and users, they all expect good experiences today in today's world. I think also the other thing to think about, specifically around car washes, is more often than not, software is probably the first touch point for a car wash's customer with their brand. The way I think about that is maybe you're interacting with their website, maybe you're interacting with their mobile application. You want to make sure you're making a great first experience with those touch points. I think it's safe to say that, a great experience there sets the tone. A not so great experience also then sets the tone as far as the customer's perception of your brand. And I think also the final thing to think about from user experience is the purpose. One of the purposes of user experience, good user experience, is to delight customers. And my experience tells me that customers that are delighted are customers that are willing to come back for more. Therefore, they continue to be paying customers. So I think that's why it's very important to focus on user experience when it comes to software.
Definitely important to make a good first impression and then maintain that impression. So, Sergio, in your opinion, is user experience just considered for consumer applications?
Absolutely not. Actually, you probably care more about user experience in what I call a B2B environment, business to business. The reason is that you can actually quantify the benefits of user experience when it comes to the bottom line. There's actually an ROI, a measurable ROI there, and I can give you some examples. Time is money. If a great user experience makes an employee more productive, completing a task, be it in the back office, running reports for your car wash, making sales in the point of sale, or loading cars in the tunnel. If you make that employee more productive with a better user experience, then there's a measurable ROI there. Another example of why you care about user experience in the B2B world is if a great user experience reduces your learning curve, again, you can measure the ROI there. There's less investment in employee training. They can become more productive more quickly than they would otherwise. And then also, there's a measurable impact there on employee retention. Happy employees, delighted employees who are excited to use the tools that you provide because they're well designed, are probably more likely to stick around, right? So I think there's definitely a benefit there. And then I think a final thing to think about in a B2B environment is great user experiences make tools more usable. And with that, usually the implication is that they are making less mistakes. And I guess, mistakes in the retail world have a significant impact on the overall customer experience, right? Customers not going to be happy if they get rung up for the wrong amount, or the loader doesn't load the right car at the tunnel. So there's a definite ROI there, if car wash employees are making less mistakes because of a good user experience.
For sure. So can you tell us how DRB has focused on user experience with Patheon, and then what has the company done differently?
Sure. So I would say Patheon is probably the first product in the company's history that we have made it a priority to focus on user experience from day one. What that looked like is, we literally kicked off the program by talking to customers. So, user experience has the word user in there. That implies that it's a user-centered process. So we're always making sure that the voice of the user, voice of the customer is heard in the software development process. So, like I said, we started off the process by actually going out, talking to our customers, understanding, number one, who are the personas we're designing for. So there's actually a variety of different personas or users in a car wash that have different needs. So we wanted to make sure we understood, what those were. The second thing we did was to actually understand what does their journey look like throughout their, their day when they're actually working in a car wash. Identify, what are their key moments of pain, key moments of delight, and make sure that we understand that and focus our experiences to reinforce, the good things and minimize the bad things and hopefully, move the needle forward. So I think doing those two things is really critical and was a significant part of the process. The next step that we did once we had that information was to actually build out a user experience strategy. So basically, again, socialize, okay, we are designing for these users. We are addressing these pain points. We are addressing key areas in their journeys throughout the day and making sure all stakeholders are on the same page about what those were so that, if it came time to have hard conversations that usually happen in software development about trade-offs and what we can develop versus what's important, having that strategy in the back of our mind is kind of like a north star to always reference. I guess the other thing that we did differently with Patheon is the company, again, because we had a UX team, we made sure that we invested in the appropriate tools for the UX team, for my team to use. And really, those tools are there to help ensure that we maintain the original design intent that we crafted throughout the development process. Make sure that developers understand, okay, this is what this product needs to look like once the implementation is done for the user interface. Specific things there were the creation of what we call a design system. So again, this is the source of truth for both designers and developers to always reference so that we can deliver, consistent, cohesive user experiences that, address the things that we want to address and also ultimately reinforce DRB's brand promise of delivering great user experiences. Another big part of this was, again, to the whole point of UX is a user-centered design process. That implies that you validate your solutions with the target users before you make products or user interfaces generally available. So that was part of our process, was to actually take what we were developing, put it in front of the target users, understand, was what we created delivering on our promise of creating a better experience. We have specific tools and metrics that we track to do that, to make sure that we're on the right track. These are things that have been in the UX industry for 30-something years. So we're making sure that we're using those things. And then also making sure then that once we have that feedback, we're actually acting on it, right? So if a user says, well, this really didn't hit the mark for me, then that needs to be fed back into our process. And we need to iterate on that feedback and make sure that we're, again, moving the needle forward in the right way to address the needs of the target users of the Patheon product. I guess just to speak just overall what this has meant for the company, for DRB in general, is that really you need to think about UX, the process, the role as something that really changes the company culture. A lot of people think, well, I hired a UX designer, I ticked off the box, I'm good. And that's really not how you succeed in making user experience a priority. Really, it's about looking at the processes. How do we interact with all the other people that we have to interact with, our partners, be it in product management, be in development, and understand that we're all in this together, to really deliver on the goals and not just think of UX and designers as of like a department that's a job shop here. here's what we need for the current sprint, go develop it. And that's not the right way to approach UX. UX really needs to be a culture change for the company in order to be successful.
I agree. Well, thank you for taking a few moments here, Sergio, to go into a little bit more detail about how to enhance and maintain your user experience at a car wash. And again, thank you for doing this interview for carwash.com.
Appreciate it. Glad I had the opportunity to talk. Thank you.